I do not shake hands with staff.
But I...
He glared at her maliciously and contemptuously.
Smile! Refill the glasses and stay invisible. That's what we pay your kind for.
Yes, sir.
Charles Whitman swirls his bourbon. He has not once looked at her face.
And lose that fake corporate smile. Black monkey! Your kind of people always overplay it.
Hallie Sinclair's jaw locks. Her grip on the tray tightens. She does not lower her eyes.
You crossed the line.
Whitman was furious, leans in. His voice drops, ice cold.
Do not embarrass me in front of my investors again. Just keep serving and stay in line. Just keep serving and stay in line.
Her other hand reached for the phone. Cancel it. In minutes, Charles Whitman will face severe consequences for his actions and words. 5 hours before the ballroom. The Upper West Side apartment is quiet. East-facing windows. First light bleeds across the hardwood. Hallie Sinclair stands at the kitchen island in a silk robe. Black coffee. The Financial Times folded in half. She does not look at the front page. She has read it already. A small leather box sits beside her cup. She opens it. Inside, a gold Patek Philippe, older than she is. She fastens it on her left wrist. The clasp clicks. Soft. Her late father gave her this watch the morning she graduated from Wharton. He had only one piece of advice that day. Hallie, watch how a man shakes a hand he thinks he owes nothing to. That tells you everything about how he runs his book. She had been 22. She had laughed. She does not laugh now. Her phone vibrates. Mark, her chief financial officer, on speaker. 3,000 miles between them. He is in Greenwich, in the office before sunrise, as always. Morning, ma'am. May. Mark. Confirm trigger 1. A pause. The faintest click of a keyboard. Trigger 1 is warm. Goldman is on standby. 1 tap fires it. Are we expecting movement today? I don't know yet. Understood. I'll keep the line open. Thank you, Mark. She ends the call. She does not explain. He does not ask. A second vibration. The screen reads, Edmund Caldwell. She answers on the second ring. Edmund. Hallie, I won't keep you. I just want to make sure you're still coming tonight. I told you I would. I know. I want the room to feel what real money looks like in person, even if they can't name it. She turns toward the window. The Hudson is gray at this hour. My name stays off the deck, Edmund. Your name stays off the deck. Your number is on every page. Keep it that way. I want to be measured by the deposit, not by the photograph. A small silence. Hallie, Margot lands tonight. I'll tell her you said hello. For the first time this morning, Hallie smiles. Small. Private. Tell her to call me. I owe her dinner. She ends the call. The town car drops her at the front entrance of First Federal Tower just before 8. The night air is cold. She walks past the doormen without breaking stride. Marble, brass, the hush of money. The lobby gallery runs along the east wall. 16 oil portraits, every chairman of First Federal since 1888. She has walked this hall 100 times. Tonight, she slows. She stops at the 11th portrait from the door. Nathaniel Sinclair, Senior Vice President of Community Banking. 1979 to 1996. Her father, the only black banker the bank had at that level in his era. He had been offered the chairman seat 3 times. He had refused 3 times. He told her why, once. She was 16. Hallie, when you become the man people stop shaking hands with, you become the man who decides who gets a bank. She places 2 fingers on the bottom corner of the frame. 2 seconds. She walks on. The elevator opens onto the 64th floor. Sky ballroom, crystal, candlelight, a string quartet somewhere behind the bar. A young woman in a black dress almost collides with her. 22, maybe younger, sweat at the collar, earpiece slightly crooked. She sees Hallie. She sees the navy suit. She does not see the watch. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. Could you bring that tray over to Mr. Whitman's group? Please. I'm so behind. My floor lid is going to kill me. She points at a side console. A water tray sits there, untouched. Crystal glasses, sparkling, still. Hallie looks at the tray. She looks at the girl. The girl is 1 bad sentence from crying. Hallie picks up the tray. Of course. She does not correct her. She makes a private note to find the girl after the gala and introduce herself properly. For now, she carries the tray. She's never been served as a customer at her own bank, only as an investor. She's mildly curious about the difference. Across the room, 3 Gulf principals near the floor-to-ceiling window, a retired federal judge at the canapé table, 2 Bloomberg reporters by the doorway, lenses already capped down at their hips. Edmund Caldwell, 60 feet away, lit for an interview camera. He does not turn. And at the bar, Charles Whitman, mid-handshake, 2 hands, a Greenwich fund manager grinning back at him. Whitman finishes the handshake, his palm warm, his smile wide. He turns. He sees the tray. He does not see her face. He snaps his fingers. You, drinks, now. The 11 minutes begin. She pours. The water hits the crystal clean. A neat curl, a soft plip. She steadies the glass with 2 fingers. She does not look at his face. Whitman does not say thank you. He waves her back. 2 feet. He does not look at her face either. He turns to his circle. 3 men, 2 women. Greenwich, old money, new money, money that does not blink. You have to manage them, Whitman says, loud enough for the room. If you don't, they get comfortable. 2 of them laugh. 1 of them does not. The one who does not laugh is a Gulf sovereign wealth principal in a dark suit. To Hallie, he's a man whose firm has been a client of Sinclair Sovereign Capital for 9 years. His eyes find Hallie. They widen, just slightly. Hallie shakes her head, the smallest shake. Don't. He understands. He raises his glass, his face flat, his voice dry. Your staff are very patient, Mr. Whitman. That's how you train them, Whitman says, grinning. Patience, like a good dog. He laughs at his own joke. 2 of the Greenwich men laugh with him. The Gulf principal does not laugh. He drinks, slowly. Hallie does not move. Behind the bar, the young coordinator from earlier, 22, earpiece, sweat at the collar, has reappeared. She has come to retrieve the empty tray she gave Hallie. She sees Whitman. She sees the woman she handed the tray to. Her face changes. Something is wrong, but she cannot name what. The chandelier light catches Hallie's wrist. The watch, gold, old, expensive in a way the coordinator does not have a frame of reference for. She frowns. She backs away. She does not yet understand. A new arrival approaches the circle. Tall, silver-haired, an old fund manager from Connecticut. Whitman opens his face like a stage curtain. Carl, there he is. The handshake is firm. 2 hands. Whitman holds the grip a half-second too long. The kind of handshake a man gives when he wants the room to notice he is shaking it. Hallie stands 2 feet from him. She does not move. The tray is steady in her hand. She watches his palm. A second arrival. A hedge fund manager from Stamford. Whitman pivots, hand already extended. Walter, about time. Same grip, same lingering. Hallie does not move. A third, a junior Greenwich principal Whitman has clearly been cultivating. The grip this time is even longer. Whitman pats the man's shoulder, twice. Hallie does not move. The grip patterns are identical. Same warmth, same calibrated angle, same shoulder pat at the end. A trained handshake. The handshake of a man who has been told, somewhere in business school, that this is how power is conveyed in a room. A fourth, one of the Bloomberg reporters wanders over before the keynote. Whitman shakes her hand carefully for the camera. He smiles. The smile has been rehearsed. Hallie does not move. A fifth, another sovereign wealth principal from the Gulf. Not Hallie's client. Whitman bows slightly. 2 hands. He says something in Arabic he has been practicing all week. Hallie does not move. 5 handshakes. 5. Hallie has counted every one, not because she is keeping score, because that is how her father taught her to read a man, not by the hands he shakes, by the hand he refuses to shake. By minute 9, she will know exactly which kind of man Charles Whitman is. By minute 11, so will everyone else. Whitman turns back to her. He does not look at her face. You, far table, refill those 3. Hallie walks. She refills. She comes back. Photograph. Out of frame. You're in the shot. A photographer is setting up a group portrait near the centerpiece. Hallie steps 2 paces left. Out of frame. She comes back. My friend's coat check now. He hands her a black cashmere coat. Hallie walks it to the lobby attendant. The attendant blinks at her. Hallie walks back. He gestures her over with 2 fingers, like a man hailing a cab. Hold this. He hands her his half-empty bourbon glass while he reaches into his pocket for a phone. She holds it. He takes a slow photograph of the room with his free hand. He posts it. He puts the phone away. He takes the glass back. He does not say thank you. 8 minutes have passed. Whitman is mid-monologue now. The Greenwich Circle is laughing harder than his jokes deserve. He turns his head slightly toward Hallie, not enough to actually see her. You know what the real trouble is? Nobody wants to do the work anymore. They show up. They want a title. They want the corner office. Used to be you could hire people who knew their place. One of the Greenwich women laughs uncomfortably. The retired federal judge, 15 feet away, frowns. He does not intervene. A small woman in a gray dress moves quickly toward Whitman, his assistant, Vivian Hart. She's very pale. "Sir," she says, "there's a discrepancy in the keynote materials. Compliance needs—" Whitman waves her off without looking. "Vivian, I'm busy." "Sir, I said I'm busy. Handle it." Vivian steps back. She looks at Hallie. Hallie does not look back at her. The look passes between them anyway. Across the ballroom, Edmund Caldwell is mid-interview under 3 soft lights. He glances toward the bar. He sees movement. He sees Whitman's back. He cannot see who Whitman is talking to. The producer touches his elbow and asks another question. He turns back to the camera. A 6th handshake, a partner from a Boston private equity firm. Whitman opens his face again, 2 hands, pats his shoulder, the same warmth, the same warm palm, the same palm that is not extended to Hallie once. Here is something Hallie learned from her father. When a man is busy burning down his own house, you do not hand him a bucket. You stand still. You let the fire show him where the door is. Hallie's grip on the tray is steady. Her jaw is locked. Her father's watch is warm against her wrist. She's not waiting for revenge. She's waiting for the fire to find the door. Whitman drinks. He's on his 3rd bourbon now. His face is flushed at the cheekbones. The slurs are louder. "Did you see how she just stood there for that?" he says to Carl. "Trained right. Used to be all of them came up like that. Now we get attitude. Now we get think pieces." Carl laughs, weakly. He's noticed the Bloomberg lens drifting closer. The second Gulf principal, not Hallie's client, sets his drink down on a passing tray. He does not pick up another. He has stopped smiling. Hallie moves once, just once, a half step, closer, not back. Whitman finally notices. His eyes snap to her. "What are you doing? Did I tell you to step closer?" "No, sir," Hallie says. Her voice is level, not soft, not loud, level. "Then get back." She does not move. For 3 seconds, she does not move. Whitman's face changes. The smirk slides off. The contempt sharpens into something colder. He has not been told no in this room, not by anyone, certainly not by a woman he believes is paid to refill his glasses. He steps toward her, close, too close, his bourbon breath warm against her cheek. The Greenwich Circle goes very quiet. Whitman's voice drops, soft now, mean. "You see," he says, pitching his voice for the circle and the room beyond it, "this is what is wrong with the country. We have forgotten who serves and who is served. We have forgotten the hierarchy. Somebody has to remind them. Tonight, I am happy to do it." He turns back to her, closer now. "Listen to me carefully, sweetheart. You are going to lose your shift tonight. You are going to lose your job tomorrow, unless—" He pauses. He lets the pause stretch. He wants the room to hear what he is about to say. "Unless you beg me. Right now, in front of these gentlemen. Beg me to keep your shift tonight, you welfare stain. Beg me." The room stops. A waiter 20 feet away stops mid-step. The string quartet between songs hears the silence and does not start the next one. The Bloomberg lens is now fully up. A second lens lifts across the room. Hallie looks at him. She does not lower her eyes. She does not raise her voice. She speaks once. "I am begging you, please." The line lands flat, precise, stripped, the cadence of a contract clause read out loud. Whitman does not hear the difference. He smirks. He has won. 2 people in the room do hear the difference. The Gulf principal, who is Hallie's client, closes his eyes for a half second. The retired federal judge takes 1 step forward. His wife puts a hand on his sleeve. He stops. 12 feet behind Whitman, Vivian Hart hears the line. Her face goes very still. Something about the cadence registers in her gut. She does not yet know what. She steps back into the crowd, phone already half out of her pocket. Hallie's free hand has already drifted toward her clutch. Whitman straightens up. He looks past Hallie at the far wall. He snaps his fingers a second time. "Lewis." A man in his 50s steps forward from the floor security station, dark suit, earpiece. He has worked first federal floors for 26 years. He has seen 4 CEOs come and go. "Sir, this one is loitering," Whitman says, jerking his chin at Hallie. "Walk her badge to me. I want it on the bar by the end of this drink." Lewis looks at Hallie. He starts to nod. Then he stops. His eyes catch on her wrist. The watch. He has seen that watch before. He has seen the matching one on Edmund Caldwell every day for 9 years. He knows because Caldwell told him once, in a hallway, in passing. A Patek, older than they were. Caldwell's wife had bought one for him and one for her best friend's daughter. 2 of them, 1 pair. He looks at Hallie's face for the first time. His mouth opens. "Mr. Whitman, I think there's been I said, the badge on the bar." Whitman has not turned his head. He is still glaring at Hallie. Lewis swallows. He does not move. 15 feet away, the retired federal judge takes 1 step forward. His wife puts her hand on his sleeve. He stops. Again. Hallie breathes once. In, out. Her free hand, the one not holding the tray, slides slowly into her clutch. She does not look at her phone. She does not need to. Her thumb finds the home button by feel. Her thumb finds the shortcut. She taps once. The phone vibrates against her palm, a small confirmation pulse. She taps a second time, 1.5 seconds. The Bloomberg lens, 18 feet away, catches the motion. The reporter does not understand what she just did. But she's been a financial journalist for a decade. She knows what a phone tap in a ballroom can mean. She zooms in. The second Bloomberg reporter, 20 feet to the left, sees her colleague zoom. She does not yet understand. She does what she always does when her colleague's lens lifts. She lifts hers. In Greenwich, on a terminal 3 time zones away, Mark's console lights up red. Trigger 1. Fired. He does not call Hallie. She has not asked him to. He picks up the line to Goldman instead. 2 rings, then a voice. He gives the confirmation code. The wire begins to move. It moves through 3 intermediary accounts the way money moves when its owner has been a woman in finance long enough to know that any night could become this one. Standing instructions. Pre-staged, quiet. In the ballroom, Whitman has noticed none of this. He leans toward Hallie, closer than a stranger should ever stand, his bourbon breath warm against her cheek for the second time tonight. "You think you're clever, don't you? You think because they laughed at your little remark, you've got some kind of armor." He pauses. He smiles. The smile is the worst thing he has done all night. "You don't. I have eaten women like you for breakfast for 30 years. The Greenwich circle goes still. They have heard him brag before. They have not heard him say it this close to a woman's face. Hallie looks at him. She does not raise her voice. She does not lower it. She speaks at the exact volume she used to say, "Yes, sir." "Then your stomach must be ruined by now." A small noise escapes one of the Greenwich women, half a laugh, half a gasp. She tries to swallow it. The Gulf principal exhales audibly. The Bloomberg lens is now fully up. Both lenses, both reporters. A third phone lifts from a passing waiter who does not know yet that he's about to be the most watched cameraman in finance tonight. The string quartet between songs does not start the next one. The conductor looks at his violinist. The violinist does not pick up her bow. The silence in the ballroom is no longer the silence of a hush. It is the silence of 100 people who have realized they are about to witness something. Whitman blinks. For 1 full second, he does not have a response. Then the contempt comes back, sharper, uglier. "What did you just—" "Sir, it is Vivian Hart." Closer than the first time. Her voice is half an octave higher than it was an hour ago. "Sir, please." Whitman does not turn his head. He does not take his eyes off Hallie. "Vivian, I told you, handle it." "Sir, you need—" "In a minute." Vivian does not back away this time. She moves into his peripheral vision and stays there. Across the marble, Edmund Caldwell finally turns away from the interview camera. The producer says something to him. He does not hear it. He has heard the disturbance. He has seen Lewis frozen at the edge of the bar. He has seen Vivian's posture. He has not yet seen the woman in the navy suit because there are 40 people between him and the bar, and the chandelier is in his eyes. He starts walking. Quickly. 80 feet of marble, maybe 60 now. A guest catches his sleeve, wants to greet him. Caldwell pulls his arm free without breaking stride. The guest blinks. Caldwell does not look back. He has walked this ballroom floor for 31 years. He has never walked it this fast. He sees Vivian first, between two tuxedos. Then he sees Whitman's back. Then he sees the woman Whitman is leaning into. He sees her watch. He sees her face. He stops walking for 1 full second. His mouth opens. His face goes white. He starts walking again. Faster. In the bar circle, Whitman has not seen Caldwell. He's locked onto Hallie. The contempt has hardened into something the Greenwich Circle has not seen in him before. The kind of contempt that goes past money and past status and lands somewhere older and uglier. "You walked into my bank tonight," he says, low, "in a department store suit with a tray you don't know how to carry, and you think you can stand there and talk back to me." He laughs. Short. Mean. "You have no idea who I am." Hallie's expression does not change. "No," she says quietly. "I don't, Mr. Whitman, but I am beginning to." That is the second line out of her tonight that does not sound like a server's line. 3 of the Gulf principals turn their heads. The Bloomberg lens tightens. Behind the bar, the young coordinator from earlier has come to a complete stop, the empty tray still in her hands. Whitman's face shifts. He has not been read by a woman in this room in 15 years. He decides to escalate. It is the only tool he has. "You know what?" he says, voice rising now, addressing the Greenwich Circle but loud enough for 30 people. "I want her gone. Right now. Walked out the front door. I want it filmed. I want every server in this room to see what happens when one of them forgets what they are." The Greenwich Circle does not laugh this time. Carl, from Connecticut, says quietly, "Charlie, no, Carl, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of all of it." He turns back to Hallie. He raises a hand, not to strike, to point, his index finger an inch from her face. "You are done." The junior Greenwich principal Whitman was cultivating 2 minutes ago has not moved his eyes from Hallie's wrist. He saw the watch when she steadied the tray. He has placed it now. His own grandfather owned a Patek like that, a long time ago. He knows what kind of family wears them. He looks at Whitman's pointing finger an inch from a woman's face. He takes 1 step back from the circle, then another. In Greenwich, Mark's screen has now turned a different color. The wire has cleared. He picks up the phone that dials Hallie directly. He does not dial. She has not asked him to call. He sets the phone down. He waits. In the ballroom, Vivian Hart does what she has not yet had the courage to do. She reaches up. She closes her hand on Whitman's elbow, tight. He whips around. His face goes from cold to furious in less than a second. "What did I just say?" Vivian's lower lip trembles. Her free hand grips her own phone, screen facing her chest. She looks past Whitman, at Hallie, for a half-second of pure apology. Then back to Whitman. Her voice cracks. But she gets the words out. "Sir, compliance just flagged a wire." Whitman waves her off without breaking eye contact with Hallie. "Handle it." Vivian does not let go of his elbow. She does not say the number. Not yet. But the room around them has gone very still. Vivian does not let go. She does not say the number. Not yet. The room is leaning toward her now. The 30 closest people, the Gulf principals, the judge, the 2 Bloomberg reporters, the Greenwich Circle. They have all heard the words compliance and wire, and they have all done the same arithmetic in their heads. They are now waiting for the only thing left, the number. Whitman finally turns his head. He looks at Vivian for the first time tonight. His face is still furious. But something else has begun to appear, something he has not felt in this room before. Doubt. He glances at her phone. Her free hand is holding it now, screen pointed up against her chest. Whitman has not looked down yet. "Vivian," he says, slow, low, dangerous. "What is the wire?" Vivian breathes. She turns her phone around. She speaks. "Sir, $3 billion, outbound to Goldman, cleared 4 minutes ago." The room stops. Not the quartet. The quartet has been silent for a while. The room, every conversation in a 50-foot radius, every drink lift, every breath, the number ripples outward through the inner ring like a current. 3 billion. A senior partner from the institutional desk drops his canapé. His colleague is already pulling out his phone. Whitman laughs. It is not a real laugh. It is the laugh of a man buying himself 2 seconds to find a position. Impossible, he says, voice loud now. We do not have a single client with that kind of single-window liquidity. Vivian does not answer. She looks down at her phone. She watches the second confirmation tick over. The line item is bolded in red. She does not need to argue with him. The screen has done it for her. Every eye in the inner ring turns to Hallie. The cameras turn with them, both Bloomberg lenses. The third lens, the waiter who is no longer a waiter, moves into the gap between two tuxedos. Hallie is still holding the water tray with one hand. With the other, she lifts the glass she has been carrying. Not the glass she was serving. The glass she filled for herself before any of this began. She does not raise her voice. You do. Whitman blinks. He has not heard her voice in that register before. He has heard her say, yes, sir. He has heard her say, I am begging you. This is something else. Hallie lets the beat sit. Then she locks eyes with him. For the first time in 11 minutes, she looks directly into his face. You did. Whitman's smirk does not slide. It collapses. He has chased Sinclair Sovereign Capital for 3 years. Emails, intermediaries, Greenwich mentors telling him to be patient. The anchor would surface when she chose to. The anchor has just surfaced, 2 feet from him, in a navy suit, holding the tray he told her to refill. The Gulf principal, who is Hallie's client, sets his drink down on a side console. He does not bring his hands together. He simply steps forward, one step, then another. He addresses the room, not Whitman. Hakifo. Hallie Sinclair. Sinclair Sovereign Capital. The name lands the way a verdict lands in a courtroom. A second principal, American, white-haired, the founding partner of a $90 billion fund out of Boston, confirms it for the people who have not yet placed it. Sinclair. The Sinclair. The largest single depositor at First Federal for 9 years. The anonymous anchor on every quarterly deck. Whitman's face turns gray, then white, then a color that does not belong on a face. Across the room, Edmund Caldwell finally arrives. He's breathing hard. His knuckles are white. He has half run the last 40 feet. He stops 3 feet from her. Hallie, please, do not do this here. Hallie does not turn her head. She keeps her eyes on Whitman. Edmund, I'm not doing it here. I already did it. The wire cleared 4 minutes ago. Caldwell closes his eyes. The room hears him close them. A breath moves through the inner ring. It is not a gasp. It is the breath of 100 people understanding in the same half-second that the thing in the room is not a threat. It is a report. It has already happened. $3 billion is gone. Whitman opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. The Gulf principal turns to him. His voice is not loud. It does not need to be. We invested because of her, Mr. Whitman, not because of you. 2 seconds later, the Boston founder, behind him, echoes it. Same language, same calm. Same here, Charles. The Greenwich principal Whitman shook hands with at minute 4. Carl from Connecticut does not echo, but he turns his body slightly away from Whitman, the way a man turns away from a fire that is no longer his to put out. In the next 30 seconds, 2 more principals echo. The institutional book of First Federal is unwinding in real time on cell phones held up at chandelier height. Hallie breathes in. Once. Then she does something she has not done in 11 minutes. She sets the tray down. She lays it on the high table beside her with both hands, gently, the way one lays down a tool that has finished its work. The room registers the gesture before it registers the words she has not yet spoken. She straightens her sleeve. She looks at Whitman. He is scrambling for something to say. He has not found it yet. Whitman blinks. His eyes find her face, then her wrist, then back to her face. Some instinct moves before he does. His right hand comes up. It floats between them, open, palm slightly upward, the exact angle he has used 8 times already tonight, the 9th handshake of the evening. Ms. Sinclair, Miss, please, there has clearly been a... Let me start over. His hand stays out. Hallie does not look at his face. She looks at his hand. 5 seconds. The whole room counts them. Both Bloomberg lenses hold steady. The waiter's lens tightens. Whitman's fingers begin to tremble. Hallie speaks, slowly, 1 word at a time, her eyes still on his hand. You said, and I quote, I do not shake hands with staff. Smile, do your job, and stay out of my sight. The line lands the way it did 11 minutes ago. Different now. The room recognizes it. 5 more seconds. Whitman's hand is shaking openly. Then Hallie raises her eyes. For the first time tonight, she looks at his face on her own terms, not on his. I took your advice, Mr. Whitman. I did my job. I stayed out of your sight. She lets the words sit. Then she finishes. You said you do not shake hands with staff, so I will not ask you to shake mine. I will simply take my money and your job on the way out. She does not shake his hand. She lifts her own glass and turns it slightly toward Caldwell. A small toast. Caldwell is past returning anything tonight. Hallie drinks. Whitman's hand stays in the air. 2 more seconds. Then it falls. Slow. Heavy. Like a thing finally accepting it has no place to land. The room watches the hand fall. Both Bloomberg lenses catch it. Edmund, Whitman says, voice cracking. Edmund, tell her this was a misunderstanding. Tell her. Caldwell finally speaks. Quiet. Even. Charles, the mistake was yours. I let it grow. That is on me. The cost is also yours. He lifts 2 fingers. 2 members of the corporate security team, already moving, close the last 6 feet to Whitman. Charles, your access badge, now. You can't. I'm the CEO. Not as of 40 seconds ago. Board Emergency Clause 6.4. Badge. Whitman fumbles at his lapel. A security officer helps. The badge passes to Caldwell's hand without crossing Hallie's eyeline. The walk to the door takes 90 seconds. Marble, carpet, marble again. 40 steps, 40 cell phones, both Bloomberg lenses and the waiter tracking him. He does not look back. Hallie does. She does not raise her glass to him. Then she begins to walk toward the same door on a 5-step delay. Caldwell catches up to her halfway. He is breathing hard, not from running. He stops her at the threshold. He extends his hand. Old style, almost a small bow, the way Hallie's father taught him to shake hands in a Brooklyn diner in 1981. Hallie looks at his hand. Then she takes it. Both hands. The grip is firm. The grip is from her father. The Bloomberg lens catches both handshakes back to back, the one Hallie refused and the one she accepted. That photograph will run on the front page of every financial publication in the country before sunrise. She does not say anything. She does not need to. She lets go. She walks out. In the town car on Park Avenue, Charles Whitman pulls out his phone with shaking hands. He dials his lawyer. Voicemail. He dials his wife. The call disconnects on the second ring. He dials his Greenwich mentor. Voicemail. A Bloomberg push notification arrives on his own screen. He reads it twice. He sets the phone face down on the leather seat. The driver has worked at this firm for 11 years. He knows when not to speak. 90 minutes later. The chairman's penthouse, 5th Avenue, 40th floor. Edmund Caldwell steps out of his private elevator. His tie is still crooked from running. His face is still gray. His daughter is standing in the foyer. She has not taken off her coat. Her phone is still in her hand, screen lit. Margot Caldwell has been watching the ballroom footage for the entire ride from JFK. She looks at her father. She asks one question. Very quiet, very level. Dad? Was the woman in the Navy suit Hallie Sinclair? Edmund Caldwell looks at his daughter. His mouth opens. The answer he's about to give her will change the next 60 days for the bank, the next year for his family, and the next 10 years for this city's financial press. He speaks. Yes, he says. She was. Margot does not say anything. She waits. And I let a man I hired 3 years ago call her a slur in front of 100 billionaires, multiple slurs. I let it grow because his quarter-on-quarter numbers were good. I told myself I would deal with it later. There is no later, Margot. There never is. He sits down on the foyer bench. He looks at his hands. There was a settlement in 2022. A junior credit analyst. Black, late 20s, top of her class at Tuck. She filed a wrongful termination claim against Charles 90 days after he passed her over for a director role. I had it settled and sealed. It cost the bank $1.1 million and a non-disclosure agreement she signed because she could not afford a lawyer past 60 days. I told myself it was a personnel matter. He looks up at his daughter. I will retire tomorrow. Margot puts her phone face up on the side table. The Bloomberg footage is still running, on mute. The refused handshake plays in a loop. She looks at her father. She looks at the screen. Her jaw does what her father's jaw used to do 30 years ago. It locks and stays locked until she is ready to speak again. I have been holding a peace on him for 6 months, Dad. You knew that. You asked me to wait. I know. I'm not waiting anymore. Caldwell nods. He does not argue. Margot walks to his study and closes the door. By 5 Sunday morning, her draft is with her editor. By 6 Monday morning, it is on the front page of every financial app in the country. The headline runs above the photograph that has already broken the internet. 2 handshakes side by side. The one Hallie refused, the one she accepted. Caldwell's old-style bow. First Federal opens down 8% in the first minute, 18% by 10 o'clock. A trading halt is called twice and lifted twice. By noon, Whitman's suspension is converted. The board votes unanimously in an emergency session by phone. Termination for cause, no exit package, vested options forfeit, $31 million in unvested equity gone in a sentence. Whitman is at his lawyer's office on Madison when the news reaches his phone. He does not answer the call from his lawyer's assistant. He does not need to. The men he shook hands with on Saturday night go quiet on Sunday. By Tuesday morning, 3 of them are in print. Carl from Connecticut tells the Times he had concerns for some time. Walter from Stamford gives a similar quote to the Journal. The junior Greenwich principal, the one who stepped back from the circle that night, declines to comment on the record. Off the record, his publicist confirms he was visibly uncomfortable throughout the evening. They are all lying in their separate ways. Whitman knows it. He reads each piece. He reads the comments under them. He does not call any of the 3 men. He does not need to. Their lies are how he learns that the network he believed defined him was never a network. It was a chain of handshakes. And chains of handshakes break when the wrong hand falls. He sets the phone face down on the counter of a Tribeca apartment that will be on the market within 90 days. By Thursday, his wife has filed for legal separation through a Westchester firm she has apparently been on retainer with for 10 months. By Thursday afternoon, 2 industry boards he sits on have removed him by emergency vote. By Friday morning, the Greenwich Country Club rescinds his membership. The letter is signed by the board chair. The signature belongs to a man Whitman shook hands with at the bar on Saturday. None of these are arrests. All of them are doors closing behind a man who shook hands with everyone he thought mattered and is now discovering that none of those handshakes were contracts. They were performances. And the performance is over. On Thursday evening, the Wall Street Journal runs an op-ed. 800 words. The headline is the title of the next 10 years of every business school lecture on executive risk. I do not shake hands with staff. The 8 words that cost a bank $3 billion in 11 minutes. The piece opens with the sentence, Charles Whitman has spent his entire career hoping no journalist would ever write about him, that in 11 minutes a CEO told a depositor he did not know who he thought she was, and a depositor told a bank she knew exactly who it could be without him. The piece travels around the world in 18 hours. By Friday morning, the phrase, shake hands with staff, has entered the business news vocabulary as shorthand for a particular kind of executive blindness. A laid-off CFO in Boston, asked about his former company's culture, will tell a reporter on Monday, let's just say we had a shake hands with staff problem. The clip runs 3 million times. Whitman has stopped being a man. He is a phrase. On the following Monday, Edmund Caldwell announces his retirement, effective at the end of the quarter. He recommends a successor by name. Her name is Dr. Eleanor Brooks. She has chaired risk at First Federal for 6 years. She was passed over for the COO position 18 months ago. The man who passed her over is currently unemployed. The board confirms her unanimously by phone. The vote takes 9 minutes. She is the first black woman to chair First Federal in the bank's 138-year history. Hallie gives 1 interview. Print only, long form. She does not name Whitman. She talks about her father and the watch and what it was like to be the only black woman in a Wharton finance cohort in 2008. She is asked 1 question about the handshake. She says, slowly, he didn't lose his job because he insulted me. He lost his job the moment he decided whose hand was worth shaking. The bank's largest depositor was always going to find out eventually. The line is in every business school case study slide deck within 90 days. 3 weeks after the ballroom, a reporter catches Whitman outside his lawyer's office on Madison. The reporter is young, 28, black, female. She is not from a major publication. She works for a small podcast that has been growing. She has one question. "Mr. Whitman, would you shake Hallie Sinclair's hand today, if you could?" Whitman walks faster. He does not answer. The clip is on her podcast feed that evening. It is on every news show in the country by morning. The clip plays without commentary. It does not need any. 6 months later, a different bank, a different lobby. Lower Manhattan, on a quiet side street off Wall Street. This bank is mid-sized, boutique, black-owned. It has been in its building for 31 years. Its founder is a man Hallie's father used to mentor in the late 80s in another diner with another cup of coffee. The CEO meets her at the front door himself. He is in his 60s. His suit is tailored, not new. His handshake is firm. 2 hands. Hallie returns it the same way. That handshake is the second one Bloomberg never managed to photograph because there were no Bloomberg cameras on this street that morning and no one in the lobby felt the need to lift a phone. The $3 billion never went back to First Federal. It moved here. By close of business, this firm, known to its peers as a thoughtful, careful, slightly underestimated institution, becomes the 3rd largest custodian of sovereign-tier capital outside the major commercial banks. 4 years later, by the metric that matters most in this industry, it will be one of the largest investment banks in the country. That part of the story is not in this script. That part is in the next 10 years of business section headlines. What is in this script is what happens that same afternoon on the other side of the river in a Wharton classroom. Margot Caldwell is an adjunct now. She is teaching a case study. The class is mostly second-year MBAs. The room is full. Behind her on the screen is the title slide, "I Do Not Shake Hands with Staff," a case study in how 8 words cost First Federal $3 billion. There are 16 photographs in the deck. The 2 handshakes are on slide 3. A student in the second row raises her hand. She is young, black, 26. She's going to be a fund principal one day, and she does not know it yet. "Professor Caldwell, why did she wait 11 minutes? Margot puts down her clicker. She has been asked this question 14 times in 14 classes. She gives the same answer she has given every time. Because she wanted the room to see the whole man before she decided not to shake his hand. The student writes it down. That evening, on the Upper West Side, Hallie sits at her desk. Her father's watch is on her wrist. The kitchen window is dark behind her. A small white envelope sits on the desk, addressed in Margot's hand. Hallie opens it. There are 3 words on the card. She reads them twice. For the first time in 11 months, she smiles in the way she used to smile when her father was alive, before any of this. The smile that does not weigh anything against anything else. She puts the card in the drawer where she keeps her father's letters. She closes the drawer. She turns off the desk lamp. 8 months after that, in a classroom on the West Coast, an undergraduate finance professor begins her first lecture of the semester with the same slide. Then a 3rd classroom, in London, the next year. Then a 4th, in Singapore. 8 words. 8 words from a man who thought he was insulting a server, said to a woman who turned out to be the bank. The slide stays on the screen long after the lecture ends, in every room, in every country. It is the last image the last student in each room sees before walking out. You are watching the same image now. If you had been Hallie, standing in that ballroom at Minute One, would you have given him 11 minutes? Or would you have walked, on the first slur, on the first laugh, on the first refused handshake? Tell me in the comments. Be honest. Be specific. The honest answers are the ones the next person scrolling needs. And if this story landed the way it landed for me, the refused handshake, the 8 words, the woman who never raised her voice, leave a like, share it with someone who needs the reminder, and subscribe. Because next week, 3 years after the ballroom, Margot Caldwell will sit across a deposition table from Charles Whitman and ask him a question he has not been asked since the night he refused to shake a hand he did not know. He will not be ready for it. You will be. Bati, narrator, deliberate. Yo. Watch how someone treats the people they think owe them nothing. For the waiter, the assistant, the nobody. That's the realest preview of who they are in the dark. Continues after a beat. 'Cause the handshakes you skip today, long pause, are the ones you'll beg for tomorrow.